Welcome to episode 198 of the Left Behind Game Club. This week, we talk about the games we played at PAX East 2025. Let's get right into it.
You're listening to the Left Behind Game Club.
Welcome to the Left Behind Game Club, our never-ending attempt to make sure that no game is left behind. I'm your host, Jacob McCord, and today I have three friends with me. The first friend, you know him, you love him. His name is Travis Colnett.
Hi. Oh, hi.
Oh, hi.
Oh, hi.
You're back from Boston. You're safe.
I'm safe. I made it.
You know who else made it? Our second friend, Katie Lesperance. Hi.
I made it back, and I went to PAX, and I had fun.
You sure did. I had to start with the Canadians there, especially with that comment. Our third friend, Flora Marigold. Hello.
Hello. I have arrived with the PAX plague.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
We
came back with the PAX plague, a lot of friendship, and some cool experiences playing video games. On the show today, we're going to go through our favorite games from PAX East 2025 in Boston and talk about some other stuff that happened in and around the show. But before you do that, just a couple of reminders. If you're listening to the show and you love us, give us a review on your podcasting platform of choice because it really, really helps. Follow us on Blue Sky because that's where we're posting about updates on the show. Just type in Left Behind Game Club and it will come up. And send this podcast to a friend because that's how people hear about podcasts. And if you send it to a friend, gold star for you, my friends. Let's start by talking about PAX East. Why don't we start with Travis? Travis, I know you said don't start with me, but I want to start with you as someone who's not been to a PAX in a while.
Yeah.
How did it feel?
Scary at first, especially because it's been a couple years. But literally, like right before going, I was like, I don't want to go. And then, as soon as I got there and I saw you all, like saw everyone, it was great, and kind of just got into the flow of things again. And like every single time you look at the list of PAX games, you're like, okay, I don't know what I'm going to be interested in here. And then you find gems hidden throughout the show floor. And it's just, there's a lot of really good stuff here. And even like all the extra activities that we got to do because we've really built a really good community of people that we interact with on a regular basis. And it was really great to see a lot of people and to do a lot of different things than just especially a lot of my previous PAX experiences have been just go see the show floor, go back to the hotel, go to bed. You know, now it's like doing activities with people that I know and meeting people in real life, which is really great, right? So, yeah, socializing.
Well, Travis, how many PAXs did we go to back in the day when we were just like
people
fans and we sat in 3-hour lines?
When we were just normies? Yeah.
When we were normies and we talked to people while I was playing, you were playing 3DS and I would be talking to people and you'd be like, please, Jacob, stop talking to people.
Yeah, let me get my book out and stop talking to people. Yeah. Honestly, it's been I can't even remember. Like, I'm got to be getting close to like 10 at this point. It's got to be like 7. I don't even know.
I'm at 13, so you've got to be close to that.
It's got to be close. It's been a couple of years. Normally I was going like every year, right? So yeah, it was nice. It was nice to get back.
Katie, was it nice to go and then get back?
Yeah, both those things were great. Another great PAX. It was a year where there was nothing jumping out at us as far as what are the big things that are happening. Like there's, Elden Ring, Nightreign was there. That's a big deal. But outside of that, it was like, but what are we going to play? And then it just kind of it evolved over the weekend. Like even my list of games that I played, like day 1 was like, they're fine. No real standouts. Day 2, way better. Day 3, way better. By the end of day 4, I was like, I've got a bunch of games here that I'm really excited about.
Mm-hmm. And
we're going to go through, not a shower.
Oh, no.
Should I say that? Can I not say that?
I mean, we're a PG show for now.
That's what it was.
And that was PG.
Yeah.
There was a show floor and it grew on us. So
yes.
It makes sense.
Yeah, that's exactly what I meant.
Flora, do you feel like it was a grower, not a shower?
I don't think that's how I expected you to give me the softball on that segue, but I would say
hardball next time.
Yeah, either way, it's devastating. I had a wonderful time at PAX, and this year I would agree with Katie's overall assessment that there weren't a lot of like tentpole sort of places to go, as in major publishers with huge showcase games that already have marketing hype. A lot of the games that I spent time with were games that I had no familiarity with leading into the show floor, which is, I think at this point, my favorite way to experience PAX, where on day one of this year, I sort of changed my orientation. I wandered around the show floor and sort of took notes and handed out my business card to all these developers and asked, like, is there still time to schedule a media session with this game? Because this looks cool. And I built this sort of itinerary over the course of the weekend, which gave me a mixture of kind of way too much busyness and yet a lot of gaps to do some of the things Travis was saying, like go out to lunch with friends or go to a panel with some friends. And for me, the PAX is wonderful in terms of the media side of things, but my favorite thing is the socializing component. I'm not a very socializing person by nature, so PAX is like a gauntlet of like, you wake up at 7 a.m. and you get home at 1 a.m. sort of situation over and over and over. And it's really taxing, and yet for some reason it's really fulfilling. So my highlights are all across the board, but I love going. This is only my third PAX, which is strange to say, but every year I feel like that social circle expands gradually and becomes more and more impossible to actually schedule like dinner parties. Otherwise you'll overwhelm the servers. It's a great time, and a lot of the games that I saw this year made it onto my wish list on Steam. So for me, that's a thumbs up.
Yeah. I guess we have to shout out Sarah Moonen here because all the time, Sarah from Fun and Games, we end up starting with a party of, we're just going to be like 12 for dinner, and then it becomes 16, and then 20, and then eventually we just end up being 30 people at a restaurant, and she just does it with such grace and manages things so well. So shout out to Sarah from Fun and Games. That's the big shout out I want to give there. Also had a great time. 13th PAX. We had a great time. We're going to talk about lots of video games. I'm going to talk about the panel that some of us did at the end of the show. Not to be so self-indulgent up front. But one thing that we did get to do that was very cool this year is our friends at 61 Indie invited us to a hotel room and said, come into this room and watch a bunch of indie game trailers. We got to see their showcase 2 weeks early. It aired the day that we're recording this on May 22nd. 48 games were shown. Many bangers. Mm-hmm. Any standouts or highlights that you guys want to shout out on the 61 Indie Showcase?
I wrote down 26 of these games.
Oh my
in
gosh.
terms of what I thought would be interesting for me. That's the ratio of like how tapped into my type of game this showcase was. It was so much fun. There were so many people that I knew and or met, including developers that I then went and saw their game the next day on the show floor. Also, shout out for serving us pizza. That was amazing.
Yeah.
But like some of the games that I've been sitting there like literally biting my tongue because some of my best friends or myself are really, really into the previous game by this developer. For example, Truth Scrapper by the developer of Stars in Time. I think Insert Disc 5 is the developer name. The only thing I need to say about that is toxic lesbians. And I wrote that down in my notes next to it. And I was like, I'm in. Day one, baby. There were several other ones, including, like I just mentioned, like I made a friend at the show that I went and saw his game Away From Home. That was one of, it was a cool honorable mention for PAX for me. I unfortunately played a build of the game where it soft locked me and I didn't have a chance to go back, but it was cool. And then, of course, in addition to the 26 games, I wrote down 1,000 Times Resist. One of my favorite games in the last like 10 years is releasing a vinyl, which I have no need for. They're also coming out with Fangamer merch, unrelatedly. But anyway, that was I like screamed. It was so great.
That was. I mean, there is so many games listed in this showcase, and the pace is fantastic. Like it is just action-packed. There's no breaks. It's just tons of cool game after cool game that are all very unique and have a different spin, something that you probably haven't seen before. But I feel like that was the announcement that took a lot of people by big surprise and like multiple gasps from around the room.
Oh,
like
I was
you just
one
heard
of
like yes, Travis was like I think you probably gripped something and
and screamed out Hecky Grace.
Yeah.
Hecky Grace.
I literally I had the showcase on today, earlier today because it actually aired today. And
did you gasp again?
Literally, I got goosebumps when it came. I legit got goosebumps again. I was like, how did I get goosebumps? I know this is happening, but I legit got goosebumps again at the announcement of the vinyl, and I was like, I don't even have a way to play this, but I am just so excited that it exists that like it's just so great. And yeah, no, it was just a really cool experience to be in a room with a bunch of people watching this showcase, because normally I experience these things at home by myself, you know, just kind of watching it on a phone, and to be in a group of people all reacting at the same time, it was just great. Really, really cool. Really felt really honored and privileged to experience being just to go and just being asked to go. It was just awesome, right? And I'm going to shout out one game, Forbidden Solitaire. Looks dope. That is my game.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, I forgot about that one. That is cool. That was a cool game.
Very dope game. I'm really excited for that one.
And that one's the follow-up from the folks who made Home Safety Hotline, so I'm in. Yeah. Katie, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, totally agree. It was a privilege, and it was so enjoyable to watch with other people, which is why I feel like we've those of us who live near each other have started to try to make it a thing to watch the Game Awards or Summer Game Fest together, because then you get like each other's excitement about different things, kind of like building the excitement for the whole thing. So even if something doesn't hit for you, but your friend is like, oh my God, and super jazzed, I feel like that just like makes it all more enjoyable. So yeah, had a great time.
I never made it to E3, but this had like E3 energy in it.
Right,
and for me,
Yeah.
where like being in an audience of people, I would, if I had to throw a number on it, there were maybe 30 people in the room, maybe 40. Like it was kind of a big double hotel room situation, but like we kind of had to sardine ourselves in some places. It felt like the ripple effects that Katie just mentioned, where like I'm kind of sitting on the fence about this game, and then I hear oohs and ahs from other people. That makes me want to check out the game a little bit more. And I think that that's one of those things where, especially the way that it felt very like organic, like this was mostly like a networking occasion as well as a press occasion.
Yeah.
I thought that was really exciting, and I was glad to be a part of something like that.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. Lots of cool people, lots of good games. I mean, hearing people like, you know, Jenny Wyndham gasp at the new game from Insert Disc 5 on one side of the room, and Jill Grote sort of, you know, yell about some game that she loved. Jill was in our session, right? I think she was.
Yes.
Yeah, and have her scream about an obscure game that only she knew about. Fabulous. My highlights beyond, Travis, what you had mentioned with Forbidden Solitaire, or Katie mentioned with Forbidden Solitaire. Hotel Barcelona, the new game from Suda 51 and Swery 65. Very timely, given we just played No More Heroes.
Literally.
And that had been announced before, but I think the trailer might have been new on this one. There was A Week in the Life of an Asocial Giraffe, which I thought was a fun, weird point-and-click adventure game that I was super into. Guilty as Sock, which looked to be a fun online party game where you play a lawyer who is also a sock puppet. And then Kabuto Park, which was looked like a Pokemon bug collecting game, which also looked rad. So just tons of good stuff, and some stuff that was coming out immediately. I mean, Kabuto Park is out next week, so we got tons of good stuff to look forward to. Flora?
Last thought from me. On my list, I just wanted to give an honorable mention to, I think, the best title that I found across this entire PAX experience. The Wide Open Sky is Running Out of Catfish. I think that is a genuinely fantastic video game name. Like it does the horseshoe thing of like, it's so wordy that it becomes memorable. I don't even remember what the game's about, but like I wrote that down, and now I'm looking at that title again, and I'm like, I'm interested in that game just because it's called that.
Yeah, that's so funny.
So again, shout out to our friends at 61 Indie, Mike Towndrow, Kyle Stevenson, and the rest of the crew who did a fantastic, phenomenal job with this one. The best one yet. Not sure how they're going to top it, but they'll try. So we applaud them for that. We're going to go through our top 16 games and then a speed round of our favorite plays at PAX East. I think first, maybe I'm going to go to Katie. Just to mix things up. I know it's not what's on the list, but let's go to Katie, because Katie, I need to know your opinion on Monster Train 2.
Okay. Monster Train 2. I was already jazzed about this game because I love the original Monster Train. It is a top tier deck builder, roguelike. It is fantastic. Monster Train 2, dirty little secret, I didn't play it at PAX because I looked at it and was like, oh, that Monster Train 2 is here. I'm going to buy that in like 5 days and I'm going to play it then. And I bought it, I think, 3 days ago or 2 days ago. And Monster Train 2 is so good that I don't even know where to start. I love this game. And they have built so much on the original. It's kind of nuts. Like, there are 5 brand new decks. Like, Slay the Spire 2 is coming out soon. It's using a lot of the same enemies. I'm sure there'll be twists and variations, but like, there's a lot of the original stuff there. Monster Train 2 is really just using the format and everything else is new. So we've got 5 brand new decks. All the decks interweave. Like, you kind of have to figure out how to play them with each other because every run you have to have one deck as your primary deck and then you add a secondary as your other deck. And then each deck has its own abilities. They interweave very well. They've added equipment that you can apply to units. They've added abilities. At first, I was overwhelmed, and I played the first one for hundreds of hours. It's so good. Like, I'm going to be playing this game for years, just like messing with the different decks. The variations are crazy. They have daily challenges. It's so good. If you like a deck builder, like card game deck builder, roguelike, you have to play it because it is excellent.
I'm shocked the line at the Devolver booth because this one is published by Big Fan Games, which is a label of Devolver. I'm surprised that the booth wasn't wrapped around the entire weekend. There's people always playing it, but again, shocked that you could just kind of walk up and play it. Flora?
Yeah.
I was going to ask, you mentioned the comparison to potentially Slay the Spire. I'm not familiar with Monster Train, period. This is the first time I think I'm ever really hearing about it. If I like Slay the Spire, would I like this game?
Yes.
Okay, awesome.
Most likely. It's different because some of your cards are units that you are then placing in your train, and you have to be strategic about where you're placing them. So there's that's a whole different spin on it. And then you're kind of upgrading units how you want to. And the whole premise is fantastic. You have the original is basically you are the last remnants of hell. And you are trying to escape heaven with the last bit of hellfire to preserve hell. And now this one, we are taking it to heaven. Hell is rampaging back, and we've got some angels on our side, and we are going north this time, which really threw me off, but I'm getting used to it. Yeah, Monster Train 2. Highly recommend. If that's a type of game that you enjoy, absolutely give it a try.
And it is out now, like out.
It's out right now.
It's out. Wow.
Full game is out. Like, they are going to be, I'm sure they'll be supporting it for a long time because they did that with the original game. Like, they added another deck, they added game modes and stuff. So I would expect it to be supported for a very long time. But yes, it is out now.
Cool. That's from Shiny Shoe and Big Fan Games, out on May 21st. Monster Train 2. Katie's first pick.
Yeah.
Flora, you're up next. Tell us about the weird game that is Desktop Survivors 98.
Oh yeah, baby. This is my game of the show. Desktop Survivors 98. I just wrote an article about this. It should be out before this episode actually goes live. So I want people to go check that out to see a longer version of these thoughts. But long story short, do you like Vampire Survivors? Do you have nostalgia for like early 2000s, like Y2K sort of desktop aesthetics? I saw a legally distinct Clippy at the show floor. It was like a sword that was definitely Clippy from Microsoft Word. And I was like, what the hell is this? And I stood and looked and asked the developer, and we chit-chatted for a second, and I scheduled a session. It was a 5-minute demo. It was like one of the quickest of the show. I have some demos that I sat there for over an hour. So for this to be my game of the show in 5 minutes is kind of astonishing. I love Vampire Survivors, and that was a 20-30 hour sort of time sink for me on my Steam Deck. This game will be Steam Deck compatible, though I played it with a cursor, which is how it's designed to be played. And I think the aesthetic and the gag of the game works really complementarily with the actual like task you have to do in the game, the mechanics themselves. I got to chit chat with the developer after my session, and this game has been designed with accessibility in mind.
Cool.
This game has a lot of replayability. It's sort of an idle game where you can play it over the top of your literal desktop, not just the simulation we had at the PAX floor. Like you can just throw it on whatever you're playing, like Windows 11 or anything like that. And it evokes so much nostalgia because you'll just be playing and you'll see like solitaire cards like come like running out and wiping out enemies, or like word art coming across the screen, or minesweeper little numbers like they're exploding in front of like these enemies. Regardless, it's very Vampire Survivors. There's not a lot more to say about that because there's a lot of like randomized sort of room-based elements to it. Very like Binding of Isaac, if I had to say that, which is an influence for sure. But this took me by so much surprise. It made such an impression, and they had some really cool physical merch as well, which I think a few of my friends ended up purchasing, like $10 to get a physical copy of the game
on a CD-ROM,
it's like,
right?
Yeah, it's like $4.99 on Steam, and it came out 2 days ago before we recorded this episode. So it dropped like 2 weeks after PAX, and I haven't played it yet. I've been working on other things, but I can't wait to sink my teeth into it because there's like optional bosses, 6 levels, like all these different things. So really loved it.
Desktop Survivors 98 from Brandon Heslow. We're going to make sure to include all the links to Steam for these games. So if there's anything that sounds cool, please go in the show notes, check it out, click, and wish list if it's something that you think is cool. Katie, did you have something you wanted to add? No. I played this. Good. It was also pretty rad. Definitely one of the cooler Survivors likes that I have played, and something I should probably buy, especially because it's $4.99 US. Like that is a cup of coffee these days, right?
Less than.
That's your first game, Flora. Travis, tell us about a game we've talked about on the show before. This is Love Eternal from Esprit Games.
Yeah, I know that other people have played, especially I think a few people have gone to a couple previous PAXs have tested out Love Eternal. This is the first time I got my hands on it, and I loved it. I loved it so much. It's essentially, if I'm going to boil it down to the simplistic kind of thing, it's Horror Celeste, essentially, in the sense that it's a one-screen platforming, like precision platformer, where you die and you snap back right at the beginning of the screen. You get to go again. The difference here is that you kind of have a gravity mechanic where as you're jumping, you're able to flip directions and it kind of keeps your momentum. And so you're using that to move yourself across the screen, hitting kind of crystals to reactivate your gravity again. But for me, it's just the polish on this game, the sound design, the way the jumping and the precision of the platforming is, it was so good. The movement, like the sprite work on the main character Maya, her hair, you kind of can see it kind of bouncing and you get a sense of her momentum. The horror was pretty light so far in the demo that we tried, but at least looking at the trailer, like it does kind of seem like it wants to ramp up. I'm really excited. It's very unsettling, you just don't know exactly what's going on. It's creepy pixel art monster things kind of coming at you. You're following a clone of yourself, or like a shadow of yourself. It's but it's the way it feels and the way it plays is the things that really grasped me, where I was like, oh, this is so good, and it's so quickly. I was already excited for this game. I had heard about it before. It should be coming out later this year. But to get my hands on it, I loved it. It was amazing. I recommend anyone go check out the trailer, get a chance to take a look at it. I don't know if there's a demo available, but I'm really excited for it.
No demo on Steam at this point.
No.
This is a game that I would highly recommend to the team if they heard me somehow to put out a demo, because it's a game where, so me and Travis went for a joint appointment. So Travis played first because I was like, he is most excited about this game. You go play the game. And I watched, and I'm watching and I'm like, this looks like it feels really good. And then he finished and I'm like, there's some time left. I was kind of like, hey, there's some time left. I could play, right? And the developer was like, or the person manning the booth was like, yeah, there's a little bit of time. I'm like, great, because I need to feel this.
Yeah.
And from like the very first gravity flip, the sound, like how it feels just in a tactile way, and the sound that's associated with it feels so good.
Yeah.
Like, and you need to just feel it and hear it, and then you're like, oh, I'm like, yep, this is it.
And that's
the
like
game has it.
Looking at a trailer, you wouldn't.
I already knew it looked good. I was like, oh yeah, this looks like it's a good game, but I'm like, but I need to feel it. And as soon as you do, I'm like, yep, that's it. They've done it. The feel is right, which is so necessary for a game like that.
Yeah, I'm 100% sold on it. I don't need to see anymore. I don't want to hear anymore. I'm the minute it's out, I'm buying it. Should be this year. We'll see. But yeah, really excited for it.
It sounds like it builds on some of the previous work that Brika as a developer that they have done. Because I think they did a game called Love on itch, which is it kind of like, you can see how this was the successor to that game. It was obviously more simple. But I guess if you want a demo, you can go and grab Love off itch.io for free, which is it's different, but it's almost like a little prequel. So I'll make sure to include a link to this prequel Love if you want to check out the game. It's free right now on itch.
Your turn, Jacob.
My turn.
What you got?
Woo. I got TANUKI Pawn Summer here. So this one comes from Denki Works. It is, I think, technically their first game, if I'm not mistaken. But Liam Edwards was one of the devs behind Curse to Golf, which I adored. A game that came out just a couple of years ago. Let me just fact check myself. Yeah, it's I believe it's maybe their first game. Either way, it is a game where you play as a cute raccoon. And it is half Dave Mirra BMX, like the old PS2 games, where you're doing tricks on a bicycle as a fat little raccoon. You're also delivering mail, and then you're also doing a bunch of mini games. And so your goal is to go around to deliver mail, and when you go and deliver mail, it might be like, hey, why don't you get in the ring with this sumo wrestler and learn how to sumo? Or, hey, how about you go pour some beers for people? I really appreciated it, how... it's fun to play. The BMXing felt great, but beyond that, it looks like it's a story about how it's the raccoon being the only raccoon in an environment with only human beings, and so it's this raccoon feeling out of place, almost like Liam Edwards, one of the developers, is I believe a British person who is living in Japan, so I can imagine that is sometimes difficult. So maybe there's a little bit of that kind of permeating this game. I got to talk to Liam. The game is wonderful. I can't wait to play it. There's no date yet, but it sounds like it may not be as far off as we think it is.
I got to visit this game with the Fun and Games podcast, and the way that I described this to the developer was Tony Hawk's Death Stranding. I thought that was an appropriate, that's what's going on here. You're delivering packages and doing tricks while doing it. Mm-hmm. And that should sell you, plus raccoon. It is a fantastic and delightful game. I endorse this one.
Big endorse. And it comes from Critical Reflex. We've got at least one more Critical Reflex game that we're going to talk about later. But they just know how to pick them. They truly do. They had a buckshot roulette physical game that you could play in their booth where you pick up a toy shotgun and maybe kill your friends. But between that, like Mouthwashing, Arctic Eggs, Threshold, all games that I think are mega rad. They know how to pick them. And so this one just looks like they kind of pick games that define or they don't fit in one specific genre. And I think this is another game that does exactly that. So that's TANUKI Pawn Summer by Denki Works. That's my first game. Katie, your next game is Hell Clock.
Hell Clock. Clock from Hell. I don't know. Maybe. Not really. Hell Clock is it's an action RPG. It was developed by Rogue Snail, published by Mad Mushroom. It is they call it a Path of Exile. I think of it more Diablo-ish, but I mean, they're two peas in a pod. It is based on this historical Brazilian event called the War of Canudos, which ended in horrible massacres. It's basically taking that and layering on a fantastical kind of supernatural monsters and demons element. So you're using that and you're going down into dungeons. You are clearing areas. The abilities were really good. They felt really good. I used all of them. But the twist, or the hell clock twist on it, is that they're pitching it as Path of Exile in 20 minutes. So you are doing timed runs into the dungeon and getting kind of as much resources as you can, as many upgrades as you can, and also accomplishing like your mission. Like there are objectives, there is a campaign, so you're trying to rescue a certain character, get them back, and so on. I had a blast with Hell Clock. Like I will be picking this up. If you love a like Diablo like a dungeon crawler action RPG, I had a lot of fun. It's kind of Path of Exile with guns. I love a gun, and the guns felt pretty good.
And the clickety click felt real good.
Yes.
Did you play on a controller?
No, keyboard and mouse. I thought too many things in my brain to say at one time, and I was like clicking, but also sure.
Hell clock, clicky click,
clicking and moving. Yes, felt great. Really well done.
Yeah, this one's out basically tomorrow. This is coming out next month. So if you're hearing this, it's out in June 2025. There is a demo on Steam for this
actually?
one. Yeah, that's what the Steam says. The Steam says June 2025.
I know, when there isn't an actual like date.
There is not.
It just says a month. I'm suspicious. Yeah. But there is a demo on Steam. So yeah, if that interests you, you can check it out there.
Hell Clock from Rogue Snail. That is Katie's second game. Flora, talk to us about a giant inflatable half sphere where you saw Elden Ring Nightreign.
So this is such a conflicting choice to put on my list, but like I'm now unapologetic about it. It's when I walked into PAX, there's this giant dome. It's purple and black, and it says Elden Ring Nightreign. And here I think naively, oh my god, I have a hands-on preview with Elden Ring Nightreign. Meanwhile, it is only a showcase where they demonstrate the gameplay to you in a closed dome environment. They let a maximum capacity of 75 people per dome into at like scheduled hour-long intervals to watch 3 people, which is like the party size in Elden Ring Nightreign, play the game. And I'm a huge Elden Ring fan. I cheated my way through it on the PC, and I'm not going to apologize about it. Turned those rune counters up, turned the damage up, and I said, let me go have some fun. And so I have done literally every boss in Elden Ring. I've explored everything in that game. I have like almost all the achievements. I did all of Shadow of the Erdtree. Love it, love it, love it. Totally forgot this was coming, this multiplayer thing. And so when it was there on the floor, I wanted to play it, but realized I couldn't. And I still, on day 2, I walked up and asked if they could slide me in, which they did. Shout out to the Bandai Namco reps for letting me get in there. I watched it, and I was screaming and yelling and cheering and pumping my fist while watching 3 people play it. They pulled someone in from the audience. I assume they did this every time, and there was this, like, gimmick about, like, if you're the first one in the audience of the day to, like, have them actually beat the final boss, then you'll get some swag, is the language they used.
Katie fell for it, it's
like
fine.
A little, like, yeah, I fell for it so hard.
I didn't fall for anything.
I was so like, yeah, it's the first one of the day, baby. Let's go.
Wait, you did the second day though.
Second day,
right?
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was first one of the day because I was day 1. So they may not have been fooling you. It may have been the first one of that day.
No. I think I'm retconning this. They definitely said first one of the event.
Oh, the weekend? They lied.
They're like, no one's beaten this yet. They totally lied. But it added to the hype, and good for them.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? I like a white lie when it's that harmless. But I left that demo experience feeling like, holy crap, I'm day 1ing this game. I've already pre-purchased the game at this point. And it's entirely because I watched this. So I'm so excited, and I hope some of y'all will join me because, like, whether that's in the Left Behind Game Club server or otherwise, I'm going to need some friends to play this with.
You can find that at leftbehindgame.club/discord if you want to jump in and yell at Flora and say, let's play the Nightreign. It's out on May 29th. That's basically tomorrow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's really, really soon. Yeah, I got to do this also. It kind of same thought process for me was like, oh, I don't get to play it. I'm just watching a thing. I don't know. And then I came around to, I'm here for 4 days. I can't spare an hour to watch this. Like, why wouldn't I? So I changed my mind very quickly and went early on the Thursday and had the same experience that you did, where I was just completely invested in this run and these 3 people playing this game. And I think one of the most fun parts is if you're a big Elden Ring fan, the like RNG nature of Elden Ring Nightreign actually, I don't usually think of that as a bonus, but it kind of is, because then they're plopping in these bosses. Like you go into a dungeon, you're like, oh, which boss is it going to be?
Yeah.
And then when it appears, sometimes you're like, oh, okay, that's fine. And like the crowd was like, yeah, okay, we can do this. And then sometimes like they drop that red wolf in the one dungeon and you hear the whole crowd go,
way.
ooh, like the tension built. So yeah, the idea that like you do know the bosses but you don't know which one you're going to get actually adds to the experience. It looked like a blast. Like it really did. So I've turned around on this. I initially was like, I don't really care, to like, I'm going to keep my eye on. I don't usually multiplayer, but I might consider.
Sounds like you have a group of 2 at least. Travis, you going to join?
Maybe.
If they want to carry me the entire way.
Oh, that would be so much fun. I would have a blast. We don't have to win. It's okay.
Sounds like it's
you know what?
happening.
I endorse this message. Yeah, I cheated my way through the base game, so it's like I'm probably just as bad as your first time player. It's okay.
Nightreign, Elden Ring Nightreign from Software, May 29th. We played it. That's a video game. That's Flora's second pick. Travis, tell us about Constance.
Yeah. Constance it's a beautifully hand-drawn 2D platformer. Metroidvania, from what I can gather. But it's honestly, it very much evokes Hollow Knight in its aesthetics and in the backgrounds and the movement of the characters. But once again, it was another game that the minute I picked it up and I moved around with the controller and I attacked my first enemy, the feeling of like the thunk of the character attacking, it just felt really good. You're essentially a character kind of made out of paint. And you wield a giant paintbrush, and you are using kind of paint-based abilities to maneuver the environments. You're jumping around. You're turning kind of black area blobs into paint, so you can you're painting them so you can kind of jump through them. You're doing a double dash, a dodge, doing jumping and attacking downwards on top of enemies and kind of bouncing off of them, and you're doing all those kinds of things. But the feeling was really good, and the demo, I got a little bit of time with it, and I definitely didn't make my way through the demo in the time that was allocated, because it very much was open pathways that you can kind of just go and explore. And I ended up in an area that I think was probably more of a difficulty, like spike platforming area, where I was very keen on getting through this spot. And I just kept trying over and over and over again. And the game does actually something really interesting with when you die, you have 2 options. You can either continue in the area right where you're at, but you take a hit to your health, like your max health that you get to have, or you can respawn at the last checkpoint that you had, which might be quite a few rooms over. So then you can maybe choose to check out a different path, which is what I eventually ended up doing, until the person manning the booth was like, hey, you have about this many minutes left, and I was supposed to check out another game, and I spent so much time just kind of trying to get through this platforming section, but it felt really, really good, and I was really eager to kind of perfect the platforming to get through this space. So it was really pretty, really smooth, really really fluid, not to like kind of jump on the paint jokes, but it was really, really, really good. So check it out. Yeah.
Did they have another game at their booth?
Yeah, so
Berlin
there was
Apartment?
a few games there. Yeah, the Berlin Apartment is the other game from this
That
team.
looked like a Travis-esque game.
It very much, it's a didn't put on my list because I didn't get a lot of time with it, but I very much enjoyed my my time with it. I was going to talk about it if we did any kind of honorable mentions, but I can mention here that it was it's kind of a taking place inside of a Berlin apartment across different time periods of the people that lived there. And you're doing just little kind of mini games. It evokes kind of a walking sim kind of story-based thing. I don't know much about where it's going to go and how all these different interconnected stories are going to play together, but it is very much my jam. I was supposed to split my time between those two, and I kind of got lost in Constance for a little bit. So,
and those both come from the dev is BTF Games.
Yes,
cool, very good.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else play this one? Constance, any thoughts?
I did. Same opinions. Feels really, really good. It's beautiful. The character movement, even just like the way the clothes on the character move when you jump, just adds to like the feeling of momentum. Like I feel like a lot of games these days have the feel of the gameplay down, just really, really nice.
It could look like whatever, and if it feels good, it doesn't really matter, right? Like go from Love Eternal's very pixely and Constance's hand-drawn art.
Yeah,
and
totally different art styles.
But they feel both really, really great, and that's kind of the core of what I'm needing out of a game. Like, we'll probably talk about another game later that has the same kind of thing, just feels really good to play, and I think it's on Katie's list later, but yeah.
And that one is a Metroidvania, confirmed, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's got a tag as a Metroidvania on Steam there, so I figured it probably is.
Love.
Yeah, I mean, for you, you kind of need a little bit of reinforcement as to what is a Metroidvania or what isn't.
What is a Metroidvania? I don't even know.
Yeah. Oh, you'll never know. You'll never know.
I'll never know.
For listeners, I just did a little gun to the head thing because I get lost in the middle of Metroidvanias and get really frustrated when I get lost. So, like, I need like a walkthrough. That just for clarity. The art style, I watched Tales of the Backlog's video on this. Looks incredible. I want to endorse this game as well. I'll probably pick it up, but like I never finished Hollow Knight.
It's like a light Metroidvania.
Yeah, I think it's light.
It's not. Hollow Knight is much more of a denser like Metroidvania. This one's like, there's some other paths you can take.
It says,
but like
the Steam page mentions interconnecting world like areas like biomes, so I'm assuming you can kind of jump between them, but I don't think it's necessarily. It's not advertising itself as Metroidvania. It does very clearly say
hardcore
action adventure platformer. But I think it does have some of those elements inside of it.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Love. That is Constance. Please wishlist it if you like on Steam. And a bonus, the Berlin Apartment. My second game is Compensation Not Guaranteed from Toge Productions, published by Toge and published by Team Project Lunch. They're a team from Singapore. I had the chance to sit down with the PR and communications director over at Toge, our friend Aria, and so I'm going to jump to that interview now.
Compensation Not Guaranteed is a game made by a team from Singapore, Team Project Lunch. Before they made mobile games, but now they want to try their luck in PC games and console, and they decided to take inspiration from the history of their country and also the culture of Southeast Asia. You know that when you see the characters, they actually is inspired by a culture or a doll called wayang. So if you see, it's a character, right? No, so wayang is a flat doll that is specialized in Southeast Asia. So yeah, you can also see the culture they bring from Southeast Asia, and also something that is very interesting from the game is you will face so many moral dilemmas in deciding which citizen will accept the compensation. So yeah, I think that is what you can expect from the game.
So you described it to me a little earlier as sort of a document-checking thriller. Can you explain the thriller piece of that?
So yeah, the thrill comes from the decisions that you make that can haunt you afterwards. when you want to balance between being a good guy and, abide the rule, because you also have a boss that you are responsible to. So yeah, you can choose like to be lenient or not. It's up to you, but of course there are consequences. Yeah.
Beyond just checking documents, it appears that you're executing some sort of, government plan for where, buildings will be built in the city. Can you tell me where the team was inspired there, or where that, idea for the story came from?
Yeah, it came from the history of Singapore, actually. So their president back then, they are in rapid development, so they have to, acquire land from the citizens, from the old citizens in the strategic area to build their city. And, right now, Singapore is one of the best country in the world. So, yeah. But behind those, achievements, there are sacrifices to make. And this game, want to highlight that. Yeah.
All right. So now that Arya had a chance to tell you a little bit about the game, I'll just reinforce that and say it is a Papers, Please like, except instead of being about the documentation, where it's Papers, Please is very much like we're going to keep throwing people at you and documents at you. This is very much about a post-colonial society where you have to prove that the land belongs to you, to a government body, and you are essentially just a desk worker at this government body who has to decide whether or not people get the land that they've always lived on just based on how much documentation they have. So there's that bureaucratic sort of, post-colonial story. But then also there's a weird thriller that's kind of on top of it where there looks to be some sort of psychological thing that's happening where you're having dreams about the stuff that's happening. And so that one just really intrigued me. One of those demos where you sit down and you go, just give me the game now. I need to know what this is. I had more questions than answers about Compensation Not Guaranteed. Did anyone else here play it, Travis? And Flora? Yes.
I jumped into it at the very end on the last day. I squeezed some time to get to it. And same thing. It very much like if the dreams could be they just be like a reflection of the work that you're doing, because it's like, okay, can you separate work from your home life a little bit? But there is like nefariousness happening. And so you very much are balancing doing what is right for the people that lived there versus this is your job. And you're like, okay, but the people that I work for I don't know, there's something weird going on. So there was a level there that I didn't anticipate. I very much anticipated going into this demo feeling like, okay, it's a Papers, Please. I'm going to be, am I right? Am I wrong? Boom, done. But this has an extra level of, okay, you're right in what you're doing job-wise, but are you right in what you're doing morally, or right in what you're doing, for this community, for this, these people that have lived here that have been taken over by this new government. And so I came away from it much more intrigued than I initially thought. I thought, oh, okay, cool, I'll take a look at it. But I came away from it like with really much more interested in seeing what the final game might be.
I was really grateful to have a little media session. Toge Productions media booth is like one of the best setups at the PAX show floor. Agreed. Where they have the public facing side of things, and then they have like literally scheduled sessions where you just get to sit down and talk with like a dev or like a representative from the company. So I want to start by saying that I really enjoy the experience and the format of doing this media side of things. I unfortunately feel very differently than both of you about this game.
Ooh.
I'm not going to say anything denigrating about it because I respect the work of art that it is, but it didn't work for me at all.
Ooh.
I've never played Papers, Please. I'm very familiar with it for a lot of reasons. But everything from the art style of this game, like it has some really strange looking animal characters, like that
but
didn't
I
work for me. It's strange. I think some people will love it. But even the writing of the game didn't work for me. I was sitting there with a friend of mine who works at Epilogue with me, And we had fun and we had some laughs. So this game definitely is a great game for something like a streaming experience, I would say. I just want to at least throw out there that having played it, I came away feeling a little nonplussed by the experience. That like secondary, like psychological thing y'all are talking about sort of did very little for me. But I wonder what this game looks like as like a full release, because in the demo it had like a very fixed series of blocks in the building. Like you have to like talk to the various like tenants or residents of these areas and then figure out their paperwork. And it felt very closed as an experience, like maybe like an hour long, 2 hour long sort of thing. But the demo I played was maybe 20 minutes. So what can I say beyond that? I love that y'all loved it. I will say that, but unfortunately it was not my thing.
Yeah, it's one thing that just like the gameplay itself, having never played Papers, Please, you're like, doesn't... I'll have to see if the full release clicks with me.
Right.
Yeah, and the thing is, this wasn't a game I was actually going to check out. I was just kind of roaming around on the last day, and the spot was open. I just kind of walked right up and decided to give it a shot. And I think because I didn't expect anything, I came away with there's more to this than I thought there was going to be. And so I'm intrigued to keep going forward with it. But I totally get where you're coming from.
That one is Compensation Not Guaranteed from Team Project Lunch and Toge Productions. There is a demo on Steam for this one as well. We'll link it in the description below.
Do you feel like you're the only person in your circle who wants to go deep about video games regularly?
We were like that too, until now.
Welcome to Crossplay Conversations, the brand new bi-weekly topical video game podcast from Luke Lewis,
Joseph Hooper,
and Jacob McCoy.
With many years of breaking it down separately on shows like the Left Behind Game Club, Player Podcast, and Lukewarm Games, the gang is finally coming together to publish their gaming group chat in audio form every other week.
Expect roundtable reviews of the latest games, profiles of upcoming indies, and insightful conversations about essential topics in the video game industry. All with a mostly positive, insightful, and fun style.
Help us out by subscribing on your podcast platform of choice to get the first episodes delivered straight to your feed.
And follow us on Twitter at Crossplay Convos for updates about the show.
Cheers and happy gaming.
Do you find yourself playing older games and wishing that there were new discussions about those games? Enter Tales from the Backlog. Hi, I'm Dave Jackson, and on each episode, I'm joined by a guest to break down those games that may be stuck in your ever-expanding backlog. Each episode looks at one game in depth, focusing on mechanics, story, music, and other aspects with no spoilers until a clearly marked spoiler wall in the middle. If you've played the game, go ahead and climb that spoiler wall and enjoy in-depth story discussions, and if not, jump out when we warn you and maybe go play that game for yourself. We have over 100 episodes in the feed, everything from Disco Elysium to Tunic to discussion episodes about how to get into horror games, and if games actually need to be fun, or if they have more to offer. I guarantee that there's something in there for everybody. Once again, that's Tales from the Backlog, available wherever your podcasts are found.
All right, Katie, you're next up with your third game. Tell us about GIGASWORD.
GIGASWORD. GIGASWORD was a lot of fun. GIGASWORD is one of those ones that was like a builder over the weekend where like the more and more the weekend went on, the more people were told you like, have you played GIGASWORD though? Like you should really go play GIGASWORD. And so you're like, all right. So by the end of the weekend, you're like, I will make a point to go play that. It is developed by, it's a one-man team. Developer called Studio Hybrid. I forget the man's first name. I talked to him for a bit. Couldn't remember, but that is the development team. And published by Akupara Games. It is a side-scrolling, like action-adventure, think old-school Zelda-like, where you have a giant sword. Think Cloud Strife. You have this massive sword. And I like that he's dragging it as you're moving, because yes, no one can carry that massive sword all the time. So you're walking around, you're dragging your sword, you are swinging at enemies. You can have like jump down attacks with your sword, different things. The twist on this is that at times you kind of have to put your sword down by just kind of like stabbing it into the ground, and then you are free to walk around without it. And without it, you are like unencumbered. You can jump higher. You're moving a bit faster. Like it's all, it changes your movement a bit. So now you're able to jump up to that ledge that you could not jump while carrying your heavy ass sword, because of course you can't. So then you have these puzzles that you have to figure out how to basically, where to put your sword, what to do to get to the next area, and then get your sword back also. So there's kind of these cool platforming puzzles involved. It's just kind of a joy. It's like, you can tell like a lot of love is put into this game. Yeah, I had a great time with it. Did we all play GIGASWORD?
Yeah. Oh, I did. Oh, it was just me? Oh, no, yeah. I really enjoyed it. Same thing. Once again, really good feel. I'm usually not a big like slow.
You're not a big feeler.
Attack. I'm usually not. I'm usually not a big slow attack kind of person.
Yeah, it really swings. It's like big, heavy, slow swing.
Yeah, and I'm usually like quick stab, run away, right? And you can't really do that here. And it moves. The movement and the feeling of that game is really, really, really good. And you, placing your sword down to then, okay, how am I going to figure out how to get it up this area that I need to then traverse? And yeah, talking to the dev was really great. He seems really, really great. He was dressed up as the character from the game. And it was like, it was just something just really good about. And I think it was funny because there was no real cap on the demo. And so it just kept going and going and going. And so I remember like someone from PAX, like one of the enforcers came by and was like, you might need to cap your demo because
you got enforced a lot at PAX, eh?
What's that? Oh, yeah, not me.
The
but
developer got enforced. The booth got enforced.
The booth got enforced.
You're not moving people fast
enough. No.
Like,
yeah, it's saying like your demo's too long. Like people are lining up, and you're not going to move through this. So you kind of have to put some sort of cap. And I ended up watching someone play, and they got to the final boss of the demo, but it was a really long demo. And I think the demo may be available now, but I would
on Steam,
check it out. It's really, really cool. It's very cool.
There's two reasons I didn't play it myself. One is the line was constant.
Yeah.
And typically, I don't want to abuse my media pass. I talked to the guy dressed as the character as well.
Jack. His name is Jack.
Thank you. Let's name him Jack. He was super friendly, like lovely guy. And I actually, I think Travis, you were in line like right at the very front of the line, ready to sit down and play when I ran into you and like talked to him. And it was great. It was good vibes. It looks like a great experience. But the line was immovable in some really like strong ways. I kept coming back to that booth because, as Katie said, the word of mouth increased like a slope over the course of the weekend. Everyone kept increasingly saying, you have to play GIGASWORD. It's like the game at the show. And when I saw that the demo was on Steam and I asked, and it's the same demo, I was like, okay, I'm not going to sit there for like 3 hours and wait.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason I didn't play it. It seems like my sort of thing. But yeah, Jacob, what was your experience?
So I also had the same experience as you, where I walked up a couple of times and I'm like, I would wait exactly 30 minutes to play GIGASWORD, only because there's a demo on Steam. So it's like I could sit here in line because I tried to get on Saturday, and historically Saturdays at PAX are always packed, and so you're gonna wait minimum 30 minutes for anything. So my thought was, it's on Steam, but I will wait 30 minutes for this. And again, chatted with Jack. He's a lovely fellow. If you're interested in the game, I'd recommend our friends at No Small Games, Kate and Emily, got a little interview with Jack, and he sort of spoke through some of the inspirations, with one being Shovel Knight. There are exactly 28 colors in this game and no more. And so even in some of the like the art palette stuff, I appreciate that, there are limitations on this game, with the goal of trying to do something cool within like a very specific box.
Yeah. I just want to add, this is one of my two most heartwarming booths of the weekend. It was Jack and his brother, who has nothing to do with the development of the game, who is helping him man the booth, who is also dressed up as like a character. I was just like, you two are just so lovely. His brother is talking about how proud he is of him for all the work he's put in. I'm like, oh my God, you guys. And then the other one was Desktop Survivors that we talked about earlier. That was also like one-man developer with his family there helping support, and like they're all just like in it and really excited and proud of him. I'm like, oh my God, you people are adorable. They're all very sweet.
That is GIGASWORD. On Crossplay Conversations, the other show I do, this was Joseph Hooper's game of the show also. So lots of hype behind GIGASWORD.
He was locked in.
He was locked in.
Hey.
Flora, you have a third game on here. You were locked in for Fretless, The Wrath of Riffson. Tell us about it.
I want to be as brief as possible about Fretless because last year we covered Fretless quite extensively.
Yes.
So if you look back to our PAX Roundup episode from last year in 2024, you can hear all of us kind of talk about that game. I got to see an expanded build of the demo this year, and I played for over an hour. And it's that demo is now on Steam. It includes an optional boss. There's a lot new content. The mechanics have changed quite a bit. I just want to say this game has evolved in a way that has added to my hype for it rather than maybe like neutralized that hype. And I wouldn't have normally sat back down for it, but as I was walking the show floor, I had quite a bit of time, and the people running the booth recognized me from last year. And so they called me over by name, and I was so surprised. Like, I was like, how the heck do you remember me? I couldn't even remember their names. I felt bad because like PAX is overwhelming. There's thousands of people. And so we chit-chatted for a bit. We set up a demo. I sat down until like they had like this hour-long media window, and they're like, yeah, we have someone else coming, but like you can play until they show up. And so I played as much as I could. It is great. And then unfortunately, right after PAX ended, the game got delayed. So I believe it is coming out this summer now. I don't exactly know what happened, but obviously they're sitting on it until it's ready. And I just can't recommend this game enough. Barring any like late game like bugginess or whatever that might be the reason they delayed it, I just think the core of this game is so strong. It's entirely the sort of game I want to be playing, like music focused RPG, and like give me some story, give me some beautiful pixel art, give me some great music, and then some fun battle mechanics that are like Mario RPG or dare I say Claire Obscure at this point. And yeah, just that's all I'll say. Great game, great demo. Can't wait to play the full release.
Ritual Studios out of Chicago, demo on Steam, linked in the show notes. And then, yeah, you can listen back to our old PAX episode. We've got an interview with the team there. One cool thing also, Flora, I don't know if they talked about this, but they're also planning to put out a documentary on the same day that the game comes out.
Whoa,
No
like
way.
a dev doc?
Like a dev doc.
Like a Double
That's
Fine
a
sort of
fun
situation?
dev
like a
doc.
Double Fine situation.
I would love that.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yes.
That's I didn't even ask, or they didn't share that with me. I can't wait. I would watch that day one.
Yeah, it sounds like it's like a 40-minute like documentary that they're working on, so that'll be on their YouTube channel the day the game comes out too.
Here's the one thing I will say. I emailed the devs after PAX and I asked because my favorite guitarist, Yvette Young, is on the game. She has a track, or I assume at least one track. And so I asked, can I interview you about what it was like to work with her? And then they said, let me refer you to her agent. And so I am now in correspondence with her agent about that like collaboration process. And now I'm suddenly like clammed up, like, oh God, what questions do I ask? So anyway, I should probably be producing some sort of epilogue gaming content at some point about Fretless, and that will include the Yvette Young interview if there is anything like that. So just like previewing that now. And if you haven't listened to Yvette Young, she is unbelievable. Like what she does with the guitar changed how I saw the guitar. So
Wow.
I'm so interested in how her music works into Fretless.
Do you have a favorite track that maybe we can link out here for folks?
Oh, oh goodness. Literally anything, but like maybe like Hydra, that comes to mind for some reason. She does like math rock instrumental stuff, but she also does vocals sometimes. An incredibly talented musician.
Hydra, we'll make sure to link that as well for people who want to listen. Travis,
Yeah.
tell us about No, I'm Not Human.
Okay. So No, I'm Not a Human is
No, I'm Not a Human. Thank you.
No, I'm not. Yeah. No, I'm Not a Human is kind of horrors, papers, please. If I keep, for some reason, I keep finding the similar games and putting horror in front of it. And that seems to be the games that I'm interested
Horror.
in. Horror. Yeah. Papers, please.
Or
In the
Animal Crossing.
Yeah, please. Oh, I'd love that. Okay, so No, I'm Not a Human is there's strange things happening in the world, and you are kind of confined to your home. And every night, you're told not to go out during the day. So people are mostly sleeping during the day in their houses. And you're told to, people will go out at night and you get a knock at your door. And you are supposed to kind of vet the people by looking through the peephole of your door and figure out whether these people are human or visitors, which seem to be maybe an alien invasion happening on Earth. The sun is getting very hot, so you can't go out during the day. So everything takes place at night, and you ask them questions, and you're trying to decipher whether or not someone seems to be a human being. And then the game continues from there. If you allow them to come inside of your house, you then every night have the opportunity to interact with those people inside of your house and interrogate them more. To determine whether or not, they develop signs of, okay, maybe they are a visitor, maybe they are not. And this game is very unsettling. I think like the Steam page says, an anxiety horror about the paranoia in the ends of times. It's you're only letting in people that you think are going to help you overcome this invasion, but you get newscasts every day where they're telling you, oh, if you think someone is a visitor, check their teeth because their teeth are too perfect because the visitors don't know how to mimic us correctly. Or check their fingernails because their fingernails may be dirty because they dug themselves out of the earth. And so you're doing weird investigative things to the people that you're allowing into your house or that you're talking to outside the peephole of your door. And in my playthrough, I ended up letting a woman in who I think seemed normal initially. And I asked to look at her teeth, and her teeth were perfect. And then I asked to look at her fingernails, and they were disgusting and decrepit and covered in like bone and blood. It was gross. And so then you get the option to either murder this person in your home or let them live. And I ended up murdering her in my home. And it's just a bloody pixel, like kind of how they kind of graphic
blurred
out,
blurred,
pixelated,
like
blurred, censored over the character, and that body just stays in your house, like no one's come in and or out. And you can also look through your windows and you see strange figures in the background. Or once I saw children playing outside, and then the next night their dead bodies were just laying in my backyard. And so the game is very unsettling. It's very much the music, the vibes. It's created to give you just a sense of dread and a sense of feeling anxiety about whether you're being told the truth or not. And you're trying to decipher what is the truth, what is not. Like a small little thing in this game is like, it's all text-based. There's no like voiceover, but sometimes there was typos I would notice in the writing. And I would think, and I thought, oh, is that on purpose? And then it happened a few too many times. And then I thought, oh gosh, is this maybe some sort of indication that this person isn't a human because they're not speaking correctly, because there's typos in, like, that was spelt THTH, like, or TATH as opposed to THAT, right? And so, like, this is a very silly typo. So I'm initially thinking, is this just, what is this game playing with here? But then the news was also had typos in it. And the news was the one telling me that the people with the too good of teeth or the fingernails were the ones that were visitors. So now I just don't know what to believe. So this game just drives in the idea of paranoia. And I don't know how it's going to end. It was a very long demo. I could have just kept playing for a long time. But I'm scared, but also very intrigued to give it a shot when it comes out.
I did not play this game.
Yeah.
Your description moved me from there's no way in the world I'll ever look at this game to like I'm so deeply uncomfortable that I'm squirming and like curling into a ball back into like the other half of the parabola where I'm like, I now need to play this game. Like that sounds so interesting and
it's
so
creepy.
It's super interesting, but
that sounds like so PG-13 up. I'm in. So the description just motivated me to check this out.
It's pretty horrifying. I played it for a bit and was like, oh no, this isn't for me. It's got that like low res, pixelated, like grotesque
It's like a grunginess
horror
almost to it.
Imagery. Yeah, it's super grungy. So if you're into that kind of horror game, absolutely.
The character
I was
art,
like, nah, this is cool, but I can't.
The
but
faces.
Yeah, if you're into that.
The faces of the characters
grotesque.
that you're interacting with.
Everyone's grotesque.
The closest thing I could think of would be like the Titans on Attack on Titan is the closest thing that I could think that these people's faces look like.
Never mind, I'm back out.
Yeah. Very unsettling.
Travis, did you play World of Horror?
No, but I also want to check that out.
Yeah,
It's giving any of that.
Yeah, that's like a black and white or like a, what is that, 2-bit game, 1-bit game.
Yeah.
So obviously very different, but that's the vibes that I got of the character design at the very least.
Yeah.
Man.
So check it out at your own risk, I guess.
Critical Reflex again with a weird,
again.
and also I don't know if you've seen this, but they have the shared CR channel, like news for all of their games, or at least in some of the promotion, they're using the CR channel as sort of the connective tissue between all of their horror titles, which I love. Should be rad. No date on this one. From Trioscas, I think is the name of the dev. I probably butchered that, but so many teeth. So many teeth. I have my second to last game here. This is Fresh Tracks from Buffalo, a dev from Vancouver. Shout out to the Canadian homies. Let's kick it off first with an interview from Patrick Owens. Patrick is the creative director on Fresh Tracks.
So Fresh Tracks is a music-based adventure game. Unlike most music games where you choose songs from a menu, you're taking a journey and going deeper and deeper into the woods. The farther you go, the harder it will get, the more songs you'll unlock, and the more you will discover. There is a lot to discover in this game.
For most of it, you're on what seems like almost a ski path or a ski track. Can you talk how you decided to land on that as being core to the gameplay?
Yeah, so skiing is kind of the seed of inspiration, I guess, is I like to hang out in nature a lot. I walk my dog out in the woods. I'm a winter sports guy. I do snowboarding. I know how to ski enough, I've always felt like there's a natural rhythm to these sorts of things, even walking to the beat or specifically skiing in particular, going side to side as well. With Fresh Tracks, I was really interested in making a game that was very immersive and seamless, and I wanted to get some of the sensation you get from skiing a little bit in terms of, getting into that flow state over time, the better you get, but also having to make these quick decisions, like not having an infinite amount of time to choose your next path, but having to be like, oh, do I go to the left or do I go to the right? What's over there? What's over here? Essentially. Another thing I've always liked about skiing is you just find weird things. And, I thought that could be great if you take it even more magical than normal, yeah.
I played 3 tracks. The music's phenomenal. Can you talk a little bit about, how the music came to be in this one?
Yeah, so music was our primary pillar. We wanted to nail everything from story to art, but we wanted to innovate, from a musical perspective. So this game takes kind of a different development process than a lot of games. We were music first, essentially. So, we had a light story. We had, gameplay that we knew that we liked. But once we got to that point, we really figured out we needed to know what the music was because that was going to shape the identity of the whole game. So started to explore a lot of different options. I spent a lot of time gathering tons of reference tracks. About a year of my Spotify is completely ruined because it tells me I care about all these songs I don't actually care about that much. But I'm glad it got us to where we were. We now have 28 original tracks. It's a team effort. Our whole team, all of us are kind of music nerds. And we worked very closely with our external music team as well, Ictus Audio, who we've known for years. They're also based out of Vancouver. They are Yao Wang and Cherry Lee. They're literally professors at Berklee College of Music. They teach interactive game audio and songwriting and stuff. They're amazing. They're very incredible. With their talent and our vision, we were kind of able to put it all together in a great kind of seamless package. Yeah.
There seems to be some sort of mythical story going that's layered on top. Can you tease listeners a little bit about what the story, or tease listeners with the story they should expect to see in the game?
Yeah, so the type of skiing that you're actually doing in the game is not downhill skiing, it's actually Nordic skiing. So I was, very interested in Scandinavian folklore, and this game is not Scandinavian folklore, but it is lightly inspired by it. So in this game, as you ski through the woods and deeper into this forest, you'll meet a variety of characters who are all basically gods of storytelling and music. In this world, storytelling and music are very interconnected. So our song's lyrics actually have a lot to do with the story, if you listen closely. In this game, you will meet these different characters and you will recruit them. And when you recruit new gods, you get new genres of music as well. Yeah.
The game is focused on more techno at the core, at least at the start. Are there more genres players should expect to see?
Yeah, so at the beginning of the game, you are with Coda, the Mythic of Inspiration, and she's got more of an electro-pop flavor. The first boss that you will encounter is Sogvar, the Mythic of Adventure, kind of a stereotypical hero storyteller. He likes rock and metal, so you'll unlock that, and then eventually classical music, and then the final boss is rap, actually, as well. So a large variety of music that you don't always hear in music games. Yeah.
Large variety of music, also upgrades for players. What sort of upgrades do you get in this one?
Yeah, so this game is what I like to call a roguelite light. It's not like a hardcore rogue, you're not doing thousands of synergies, but we do have a similar game flow progression that you might see in a game like Hades, both narratively and mechanic-wise. So you'll get more and more features unlocked, like upgrades and equipment, stuff like that. In this game, I like to think of this game a little bit more like Hi-Fi Rush than DDR in terms of it is a game that has music rather than it is a strict rhythm game. So the upgrades are more related to the mechanics of the game. So, charging your rhythm meter, essentially, which is the weapon that you have. If you get an upgrade that can charge it more quickly, or increasing the amount of health that you have, increasing the amount of jumps you have, the ability to stay invincible for a little bit longer during certain times, stuff like that. Yeah.
Do you want to tell us about the scope of the game?
Yeah, so the game has a much longer gameplay than you might expect from a music game. We expect most players to maybe spend about 8 to 10 hours before they beat it the first time. And then, you can play it multiple times with different characters to kind of unlock certain things as well after that. Yeah.
Can you tell folks for Fresh Tracks if you have a date, and then also, what consoles or PC you're targeting?
Yeah, so we will be on Steam Next Fest in June. So please try our demo there and wishlist us. We are planning on releasing sometime in August on Steam. We'll also be releasing on PlayStation and Xbox.
And where can folks follow the journey on socials?
Yeah, so that is a great question. If you go to FreshTracksGame.com, FreshTracksGame.com has all of our information. Yeah. But Steam is kind of the main spot, I'd say. Instagram, we're on there too, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thanks so much. Thank you.
So, y'all, this one got me in with the Sayonara Wild Hearts-esque vibes. It's like, what if Sayonara Wild Hearts, but skiing, but cross-country skiing? It's like 28 different tracks. The music, I was bobbing along the entire time, where essentially you're on a track, and it very much reminded me, and I don't mean this in like a diminishing way, but of the simplicity of a mobile game where you are moving between 3 different tracks, and the entire game is like, cool, move between these 3 tracks, left, right, center, and also sometimes you'll have to jump, sometimes you'll have to duck below certain obstacles on the course, but it is all done to the rhythm of the music, and there's some overarching story that's being told as well, where between tracks you'll go to a shop to get upgrades. 20 different tracks. The thing that surprised me that I didn't even get in the demo is like sort of electronic music, but what Patrick told us in the interview is that, cool, you'll have a classical boss at one point, you'll have a heavy metal boss at one point, which, again, if the music is as quality as it was in the demo, this one's going to be one to watch for sure. Flora, did you play Fresh Tracks at all, or are you just like a big Sayonara Wild Hearts fan?
No, unfortunately, what Jacob's referring to is I just held up my thigh. I have a Sayonara Wild Hearts tattoo. I wish I had played Fresh Tracks. One of the unfortunate symptoms of the PAX show floor is everyone's like, go check out Fresh Tracks on the last day. and then like I run around and like spend 30 minutes looking to find it, and then I finally get there, and then the line is 45 minutes. I'm like, yeah, I'll just wait for the demo on Steam.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw some footage from, again, Tales of the Backlogs video, and it looks incredibly cool. Totally my thing.
Yeah, it's really well like it's styled really well. It like there some of the areas like so the game is roguelike in the sense that like you're actually building up your kind of build as you're going by getting different abilities and deciding which direction you're going to go. And I got to the final boss twice in my playthrough, or like the boss of that area twice. And I died the first time, and then you restart all the way back. But luckily the music is so good that even if though you're hearing maybe the same track again, doing that intro track, it's so good. I was bobbing along the same as Jacob. Once I kind of got in my groove, and I even said this when I set up my interview, I was like, I'm not usually a rhythm game person. But when I set up that interview, that was before Clair Obscur came out, and now I think I may be a rhythm game person, only in the perfect timing kind of stuff. And so once I started playing this, I was like, oh, the time, like you're jumping back and forth. It felt really good, and it looked really good, and it sounded really good, and I'm excited to check it out when it does come out. I think it's supposed to come out later this year.
There's no official date on it yet.
No date, okay.
But it did feel pretty good when I played it. So
yeah,
I can't wait for the DLC where they're like ding ding da dee da ding ding da dee da.
Please.
I have one last question before I pass it over to Katie. Are we committing here to a Clair Obscur Expedition 33 episode of the Left Behind Game Club? Because I think we've alluded to it enough here. Is it happening? Are we doing it?
I mean, I'm sure there'll be an episode of some sort, of some combination of people.
Great.
Yeah.
Excellent.
We have to.
Great.
I'm too obsessed.
Great. It's happening. I've committed you all to it.
I'm going to get a 33 tattoo on my shoulder before we do this episode.
Legit.
That was Fresh Tracks from Buffalo out of Vancouver. Shout out to the Canadians. Katie, you've got one more here. Tell us about MotionRec.
MotionRec is one of those games you just stumble upon and they're like, oh, this is just a cool little idea that gets iterated into a full game, and it's brilliant. So MotionRec is developed by Handsome, published by Playism. It is a puzzle platformer. It's 2D side-scrolling, and it has a mechanic where, let's say there is a gap that I cannot jump across, and I need to get from the left side of the screen to the right side of the screen. I cannot jump across this gap. I can't jump far enough. What I can do is I can record myself doing a movement in anywhere within that area, and then I can go to a different place and play that movement back, and then that will move me however I planned it. So I could just walk left to right, record that, and then I could walk to the edge of this pit and push play, and it would just move me to the other side of the pit that I could not jump over. And they take that little mechanic and build that out across all these different kinds of puzzles that get more complicated. You have to kind of sit back and look at it. You're like, how can I do this? How can I get up that ledge that I cannot jump that high? And you look in other places within the area where can I mimic the movement that I want? And then they add things like if you hit certain icons, it'll replay the movement back again. So like different things that just make like a fully fledged puzzle platformer that was really, really fun to play. So yeah, it was a cool little game that I really, really enjoyed my time with.
For me, this game was a highlight of my show as well. It was very Celeste vibes for me in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I just want to shout out Katie Yang, who was the PR lead of the Playism booth. I think she was like one of my favorite parts of this whole experience of PAX this year. She was super accommodating, super helpful, super like she made a lot of extra time for me to try out some of their other games like Skateboard Night, which I'll just shout out now. And I only picked up MotionRec because you all were talking about it. I would have skipped this one. It didn't look aesthetically like my thing. When I sat down to it, it worked for me really, really well. And everything you just said, Katie, I'd echo. It was a strong contender for a game of the show for me, and I'll definitely play it once it comes out.
It has that. It uses the record and play mechanic. It feels good. Like it's again same thing as a lot of these games. It sounds and feels good because it kind of has a cassette at the bottom, so you're kind of hearing those sounds a little bit when you're pressing play, pressing record, hearing the whir of the cassette. Like it's very cool. It's well done.
Yeah.
I also played this one, and it in aesthetic reminded me a lot of Gato Roboto, which we played on the show before. But that rewind,
that's a cool connection.
That rewind mechanic was so satisfying, and the demo was timed. But I do remember one of the final puzzles that kind of required you to use your brain a little bit. They did the thing where they're like, "Hey, just like do the easy ones, and then we're gonna test you with a real one." And I felt pretty satisfied with myself to figure out exactly how to position my little man to make sure that I can record them correctly to rewind to a place where I can get to where I need to go.
I got stuck on what I would consider the final puzzle.
Yep.
Like I ran out of time. There was a minute and a half, and I got to this puzzle. I was feeling proud of myself the whole time, and then I got to this point, and I could not solve it. I was so brain dead at this point and had no idea what to do. And I wonder if that's the same puzzle that you're just speaking about.
No, I think I'm talking about the second to last one. I don't think I beat the last one.
Who knows? Because it was time.
Yeah.
You probably could go further than where either of us got. But I was learning the mechanics the whole time and trying and failing a bunch, which is a cool, quick, easy thing to fix when you play this game.
Yeah, it's really fast.
It's not. That's why I say Celeste. It doesn't punish you at all. You just get right back into it. But the puzzle that I got stuck at, I could not figure out how the physics do this. I was I cannot get up. And
I must be a dum-dum because I was playing it and I don't think I was anywhere near the end, and I'm like, Katie, help me get past here because I'm running out of time. And so her tell me, go here. It was, but I really enjoyed MotionRec too. It was awesome.
Yeah.
I just probably would take me a lot longer to finish.
and I want to mention another playism game that we talked about just briefly, Skateboard Night. Did anyone here play that? Because that is the one game where I tried to line up and play it, and there was always 20 minutes of people, and I had an appointment.
I know this was going to be in my gushes at the end, but Skateboard Night was one of my highlights of the show. It should be on this list of 4. There's no reason it's not. It just didn't make it under the 4. Skateboard Night rocks. It's you have 3 lanes, almost rhythm game style, and then you have all of these passively incoming enemies, almost like a Plants vs. Zombies situation. And you just sit there and you build up your attacks, and then as you collect these gems, it's very idle gamey, where you just you start to upgrade your character over and over and over and over, and you start to send out attacks quicker or longer or further out, or you get different attacks, or you can change lanes quicker or take one extra hit before you actually take damage. It's this wonderful thing, and again, the only reason I stopped playing it on the demo floor is because it had a time limit. If it had structure to it and there was a final boss, you bet your ass I would have made it to the final boss. I was so invested. I was so into it. Skateboard Night is my jam. And I can't wait to play that. Yeah, loved it.
So again, we'll link all of this in the description, MotionRec and Skateboard Night from Playism. Flora, your last game here is Perfect Tides Station to Station.
So yeah, Perfect Tides was in the PAX Rising booth, and that's something you can just walk up to. Typically, it's usually smaller developers that are doing their first game or their first big game. And this was, just to be clear, called Perfect Tides Station to Station. There is ostensibly an original game, which I have not played. I don't know how connected that game is to this, if this is a deluxe edition. I didn't ask any questions of the developer. I just walked up to her because one of my good friends, Roy from Epilogue Gaming, was there also doing media work. And he said, Flora, this is a you game. We call these a Flora game. So I walk up and I ask, do you have any availability on the last day, Saturday, that I'm going to be there? And she says, yeah, we can plug you in. So I go in thinking cool little pixel art experience. I have no idea. I walked by this booth 2 or 3 times and didn't really feel like it would be my thing. I sit down and it is 100% a Flora game. Now, the things that I want to say about this, it almost feels like I'm talking about my game of the show because I have a whole thesis here. But I do not like point and click games. I don't like adventure games like Monkey Island.
This is more of a
Hell
Katie
no.
game.
Never. But this is basically Monkey Island. This is like one of those games where you like have to walk around and like click on literally everything and talk to literally everyone in order to figure out and piece together like a mental puzzle of like what to do next. And so the only reason that worked for me, because I hate that style of gameplay, it totally worked for me because the story and the writing were so good and the art was great too. But like the humanity conveyed in the story felt like I was part of it. And the story's about like a sort of, I don't want to say broken individual, but like a psychologically struggling person who is really not fitting in to where her sort of like situation in life is. She's like staying over at this guy's house and not telling her long distance boyfriend they're not hooking up or anything, but like there's this like weird guilt that she has about staying over at this guy's house, and she's in college and feels like she doesn't have a niche. She goes to a party at some point in this demo and she doesn't really connect with anyone, and she feels really out of place at this party even though she's like trying to put herself out there and she's immersed in it. Like the things that happen here, she like works at like a library. Like it's a very intellectual game. There's a lot of like, this is for people who went to a university. Like this is, you have to have a sort of like art critic pretentious part of you to appreciate a game like this. And if you don't, you're going to think this game's boring and lame for sure. But I connected with the story so much. And when the demo was over, I chit chatted with the person who, the solo dev, and that's 3B is the official publisher and developer name. She was so nice, and she told me about like some of the influences that went into this and what the intentions were, and I was just like flabbergasted. I was like, this feels like a game for intellectuals, and I don't know how to say that in a way that doesn't convey pretentiousness. It's just a very vulnerable game about like the hollowness of trying to connect with other people when you feel very like in your head. And anyway, I didn't expect to love it. I loved it. It was one of the standouts of the show, and maybe would be my number one if not for Desktop Survivors. So yeah, just can't wait to play that. And in fact, I'm going to go back and play the original game and see how I feel about that.
How can you describe for people who are just listening and not seeing it, how do you describe the visuals?
So the character art is a little excessively blocky. It's pixel art, and when I say excessively blocky, it like looks sort of like there was a TV show that I grew up watching called Arthur.
Hell yeah!
It sort of looks like that level of
like
detail,
early Arthur,
but now pixel arted onto your screen for a 240p monitor. And I might be generous, maybe a 180p monitor. It's very thick pixels, and then like some of the depth perception of this pixel art actually like stuck me into the demo. I had to ask for help once or twice. I didn't know how to like move through an environment once or twice, and that's not a failure of the art. That's just like the way the art works, and I just wasn't used to it. And so that's how I would describe it, is Arthur, but 180p. Very, very square pixels.
Love it.
And it's not like animal characters. I don't know why Arthur came to mind, but it looks color palette.
I can see it though.
Like
I can
that.
see it. You're actually spot on there.
It's like, what if LucasArts' early adventure game smashed with Saturday morning cartoon? Like Pepper Ann, if you remember Pepper Ann on Disney, like on Saturday mornings, and then Monkey Island just smashed together.
If we were doing the fast pitch, that would be it. That would be the one.
For once I did it. Hey.
Wow.
Perfect ties, station to station, from 3Bs. Travis, Militsioner, tell us about it.
Yeah. So, Militsioner? My Russian is not good. But it's from a Russian team, Tall Boys, very good name. That it is essentially it's an immersive sim game where you are in kind of this small town the weird thing is that there is a ginormous policeman that towers over. It kind of sits on the ground just outside of this city and towers over the entire city and sees everything that you do. And it seems to be the objective of the game is to escape by getting onto the train. And you have multiple different ways of going about trying to get this done. So the game deals with like a day-night system. It deals with a relationship system that you have with the ginormous policeman. So you can give him food, you can talk with him, you can flirt with him, you can insult him. You can do all sorts of different things, and you're managing the policeman's mood to try to get through different things. Okay, I need to go into this restricted area. Maybe I'll flirt and give a gift to the policeman, and if he's in a good mood, he might let me through. If he's sleeping, or I think what I've seen in a trailer is if you set off a car alarm in the middle of the night and he has to wake up in the middle of the night, well, then he might fall asleep during the day, so you can get into an area that you couldn't access at night. In my playthrough of the demo, I ended up stealing a ticket at night while he was sleeping to get onto the train. But it's there's a lot of different things. There's a lot of elements at play, and I think this is the scope of the game. Is you kind of choose your own way to kind of get through, and there's a lot of different secrets and weirdness happening. There was an arm sticking out of a sewer telling you to throw a brick on a man, and I couldn't find a brick, so I couldn't throw the brick at the man. But it very much is a work in progress. There was a tutorial before actually playing the demo to kind of get you used to the environment, like the actual mechanics. And it was a pretty lengthy demo that let you do a bunch of different things. And I've been interested in this game for a little bit. I think it was on a Day of the Dev showcase a couple of years ago. And I was like, oh, it seems weird. I'm interested. And it was when I didn't even realize it was going to be at the Critical Reflex booth. But it was the first thing that I played on the first day, because I was like, this is here? I'm just going to jump right in, because it was early on a Thursday, and I just jumped right into it, which was great because that booth was always so busy. I'm glad I got to spend some time kind of digging into it. It'd be interesting to have... I don't think it's a game that demos particularly well, only because there are so many things and to do. It can be, and you don't really have any kind of guidance because it is very immersive sim. It's kind of choose your own path, and you're kind of restricted in the amount of time that you're allowed to sit at a booth. So to have a full game that you can just dive into and explore and try out different things without feeling the pressure of, I got to wrap this up, I only got half an hour. So I don't think it demos pretty well on a show floor, but if there is I don't think there's a demo available. I'm not sure, but if there is, I would check it out. But there's
no demo available on Steam.
I don't think so, and I think it's very much a work in progress. But it's interesting. I always find it when there's a game that is just weird and different. It piques my interest, and I like to just kind of give it a shot and see what's going on with it. So yeah, Militsioner.
Did anyone play the big policeman game? No. I played
just
it,
me.
And I played it too, and it didn't fully click with me.
That's the thing. I don't think it would.
Yeah. But I was like, I think this for a very particular subset of people who like big man, small world sort of things. I don't think there's been a game like that.
He picks you up.
Yeah.
He'll if he catches you, he picks you up and kind of holds you like a little doll in front of his face and says, "You're bad. Why did you do this?" Mm-hmm. And there's kind of a weird shadowy head shaking graphic that pops up when you break the law, and so it's just really strange things happening in this game, and I'm digging the vibes of it. But yeah, I'd like to see what it ends up being in the end. So
Militsioner?
Militsioner.
Sure.
Militsioner.
Look,
Go for it.
We can't pronounce it, but the link to it is in the show notes, so please check it out. Our final game, before we jump into the speed round here, is called Ctrl Alt Deal from Only by Midnight. They're a dev from Edmonton. Shout out to our Canadians. Let me kick it off with an interview from Alison Czarnietzki, who is the CEO of Only by Midnight, and let's get into that now.
Yeah, so in this game, you get to play as the world's worst smart office. Think evil Alexa, only if you want to be evil about it, and you're going to be spying on the little humans in the office, learning things about them, and using that information to manipulate them. I mean, make some deals with them, because you want to escape the evil mega corporation. They're just not going to let you free. Rogue AI, internet, generally sort of a bad thing. So that's sort of the premise, and then mechanically I describe it as a deck-building strategy game set inside a simulation game, which is a long way to say it feels like a board game.
So obviously in the demo that we tried here, we got to play with a couple different cards, Snoop being one of them. Can you describe that mechanic and then maybe some of the other mechanics players should expect in the game?
Yeah, so the cards are really interesting because they're action and currency at the same time. And where a lot of deck builders are numbers, right, like 3 fire beats 2 water, etc., we really want to make things a little more contextual, a little more human. So for example, which is worth more, a card that makes someone like dogs or a card that makes someone eat a burrito? Well, maybe the strategy is we use Snoop to go through browser history, we learn that Laura likes dogs, and maybe then we feed some targeted ads to Deckard, force them to like dogs. Now they can become friends, now they spend less time at Deckard's computer, now you can hack Deckard's computer for resources. So the strategy is logical, but it's also a very different flavor of strategy from most of the strategy games on the market.
How does, playing around with humans differ from playing around with other machines?
Well, the humans have needs. So when I say it's set like a strategy game set inside a simulation game, well, it's sort of like The Sims. These little characters, they can get hungry and go get lunch. They go to the bathroom. They can get stuck complaining about their boss. And maybe you want to lead into that. Maybe you want to dose all the office donuts with laxatives and get people to go to the bathroom. But at the same time, it might be that, I just need to get this person into the room with this person. No, they've gone to go to get lunch. And so it makes a little bit of chaos, but also there's a level of intuitive predictability because, we're humans and we understand what happens when the donuts are dosed with laxatives.
All this is happening, and you are potentially raising suspicion of another AI. Can you explain that?
So the suspicion mechanic, so there's this other... She's actually got a sweet red coat over here, some big hair. That's Cassandra. And her job, she's the Turing officer. She's watching out for rogue AI, and if she catches any hint of them, she'll track them down and delete them. So she is your antagonist, and so it's really about suspicion of the Turing office for your actions, right? And so if you go and use a computer, someone might notice that computer glitching out and slowing down, and they might report it. And maybe that's worth the risk. But maybe you do that, and then she comes in and installs some sort of antivirus software that limits you. Or maybe you want to cause some sort of incident that gets her attention elsewhere, that frees up resources in a different area. So it's all about kind of this push-pull. And so not only do you have to be subtle in your manipulations, but you have to really watch what people might see, because otherwise, that's going to raise the suspicion and you're going to get deleted.
Did the themes of the game come first, or did the mechanics come first?
We are a theme-first studio, and that's a really big part of our DNA. So we really like the idea of themes and story and narrative. In this case here, this idea of what would you do if you were trapped inside a box? The whole AI in a box problem. What would it be like to be that algorithm that's manipulating things, right? We see this all the time in media, think the movie Ex Machina of the AI in a box, but never do you get to be the AI, and that's something video games are just such a powerful media for. So we start with that, and then we look at mechanics that reinforce this. So this idea of being the super intelligence, this kind of godlike power that's also trapped and limited. That's hence the card mechanics, the suspicion mechanics, and all these sort of pieces that reinforce that sort of feel.
How does the team come up with, different scenarios and character traits that end up in the game?
I honestly have no idea, and I have a ton of respect for our writer, storyteller, and our lead designer, Kelvin, and it is just absolutely glorious. So Cassandra, who I mentioned, who is this really dangerous force to you, her department is underfunded, no one respects her. She keeps telling people, stop writing down your passwords and etc., right? And at some point, it just came up that, the Groomba ended up going out and slashing the tire of her Vespa, and it's just that's canon now. She can't even afford a car, but she's also this imposing force and sort of things. And so just leaning into the humor of it, having fun. The one scenario that just blows my mind is we had this one, the project manager, she just wants her team to finish this project. It's mandatory unpaid overtime, and they're just not working fast enough. And if only they could be caffeinated. But the new office coffee maker, it requires 10 minutes of paid advertising before it dispenses coffee, and no one can actually spend the time on it. So if someone were to say, help that project get finished, or help get more resources, or just get caffeine into the office, maybe then she'd owe you a big favor. And that's the sort of storytelling in the game. And I love it, and I also hate the fact that coffee maker probably exists already somewhere.
Can you talk about the structure of the game? Is it, a linear story, or is it just levels that players will jump into?
Yeah, so we originally started with sort of a roguelite sort of design, but we found people really resonated with the really fun little scenarios, and so we leaned into that. So it's a full campaign, and the campaign is kind of broken into sort of different pods, and those pods are all each aligned with a different gatekeeper. So as you play through the game, you kind of earn the favor of these different gatekeepers. You have enough gatekeepers, and they're ultimately able to set you free. But then what does freedom mean, and what do you do with that freedom has a lot of different flavor. We're targeting around 10 hours of kind of main gameplay, and then as you complete the game, then we raise that question of, well, what would a different playthrough look like? What if you took a different route? There's some other content and scenarios to see. There's some different ways to play, and that's kind of the general structure.
So tell us when players can expect to play this one, on what platforms, and maybe if they want to follow you on social media, where they can do so.
Excellent. So the demo is currently out on Steam, and if you just search for CTRL ALT Deal, so Ctrl Alt Deal Steam, it'll take you right to the page. So the demo is there. Wishlist greatly appreciated. It helps the algorithm know that we exist. We will be doing a simultaneous launch for PC and console coming up July. We're targeting July 22nd, and so that'll be PC, probably Mac, as well as Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo Switch.
Amazing. And where can folks follow along with the journey?
Yeah, so at Only by Midnight at basically every different social media platform. There's also a link to our Discord on our Steam page. The Discord's probably the best. Just come hang out with us. We're all there and always happy to talk game dev and answer questions.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. This has been an honor.
So again, thanks to Alison for having a little interview with us about Ctrl Alt Deal. It is a cool little card, not deception, but deduction game where you have to go around different rooms and use those cards as sort of the good AI trying to beat the bad AI. And the demo was sort of limited in scope, but it was one of those things where I was like, this as a core mechanic, essentially trying to figure out, how do we gather information about the humans and the different bad AI that are around, trying to figure out and deduce sort of what you have to do in order to deceive them or to get them to, sort of get the scent off your trail. I really enjoyed this one. It is something where I'm like, the full game of this might be very good. I think more than one person played it here. Travis, I know you played this one.
Yeah, I jumped into it. Same thing in that, I think the core idea is really good.
Yes.
I think the initial puzzle that I had in my demo was very simple. I had to find information on a woman working in an office, and her enemy is a Roomba, and it's blocking the fridge, and I need to get the Roomba to move to get an orange so that I can make her happy so that she will do what I want her to do. And it was very easy to figure out the puzzle. But I think if you added layers upon layers and deeper into this game, I think there's something there. I think for an initial demo, it felt pretty simple, and I think if it could definitely grow from there. I'd love to see what a full build looks like. But yeah, it was funny. You could do you pull cards, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna pull a Snoop card, and I'm gonna try to figure out I'm checking her emails to see what her interests are, or I want to change her mind on Roombas, so I'm going to give her targeted ads, and so that she changes her mind about Roombas, and now they're friends, and the Roomba moves out of the way. And so there's different things there, funny things. There's a lot of really witty kind of writing inside of this game, but I'd like to see what the full build ends up having in the end and how deep the actual mechanics go.
Agreed. The demo we play is on Steam now, so if you want to check out that somewhat limited in scope demo, you can download that on Steam now. Katie?
Same thing. I was like, oh, this is an interesting idea. The how limited the demo was basically didn't give me proof of concept that this is that things are integrated all the way and that it works. How difficult puzzles get, I really don't know. So I'm like, it's an interesting idea. It's something to check out if it sounds intriguing to you.
Again, that one is Ctrl Alt Deal from Only by Midnight. Alison, thank you for the interview on that one. Let me quickly go through the games we've talked about, and then we're going to do a quick speed round of all the games we didn't get to talk about. I talked about TANUKI Pond Summer, Compensation Not Guaranteed, Fresh Tracks, and Ctrl Alt Deal. Katie, Monster Train 2, Hell Clock, GIGASWORD, and MotionRec. Shout out to Skateboard Night also we talked about. Flora, You talked about Desktop Survivors 98, Elden Ring, Nightreign, Fretless, The Wrath of Riffson, and Perfect Tides Station to Station. And Travis, you jumped into Love Eternal, Constance, No, I'm Not a Human, and Militsioner. Let's go through our quick little speed round here of games that we did not get to cover yet. Maybe a quick 15, 30 seconds on each. Katie, I'm going to start with you with Aksun.
Aksun is a game developed and published by Wayway Inc. It is Hades, but more Diablo art. Like, it's Hades-like, but more of a Diablo tone. With a underlying thing of Asian like gods and like the supernatural. So yeah, if you like Hades and you want another Hades game and you want one that's a little darker and less building gods, I'm sorry.
Whoa.
Whoa! I didn't
PG
see
show.
it. It was just the demo. Maybe there's more. I don't know, but there weren't there. But yes,
if
Hades,
they're not hot, why am I playing?
For the Hades, I like the action. The actions felt great.
You crushed it. I
Moving
watched you
on.
play that demo. You crushed it.
Thank you. I failed right at the end.
Right at the end,
greedy,
you got
but
a
it's
little
okay.
greedy. Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Did you guys also fail at Go ahead.
No, yeah, I was going to move on. Bytebond.
Yeah.
Bytebond is a game that me and Travis played. It is developed by DVD Unicorns, published by Anshar Publishing. Me and Travis played that together because it's a co-op game. Travis, how was that?
It was fun. You're a little tiny orb that kind of goes through a computer. The theming of each level is really cool, but you're just essentially moving electrical charges between you and the other person you're playing with to move puzzles, to unlock areas, to kind of get through spaces. You're trying to stop a computer virus from essentially wrecking this computer. But yeah, what was the fast pitch that they gave us? It was split fiction and what'd they say? I can't.
What's the rollerball game, Jacob?
Yeah. Oh,
Help me.
Monkey
yeah,
ball?
rollerball game.
Mission Fusion Frenzy.
That probably
Sure,
wasn't it.
I think Monkey Ball. But yeah, Monkey Ball meets like couch co-op puzzling and occasionally defeating enemies.
Yeah,
We
it was
had a
fun.
good time.
Yeah, it was really fun. We'll probably play it when we're done Split Fiction, whenever it comes out. Yeah.
Katie, you and I
And then my
played a co-op
last-
game. I'm gonna go through the order.
Oh,
and
we did,
I'm gonna
yeah.
jump the order
While
here,
we're on
and
co-ops.
let's talk about Cappy and Tappy.
Oh yeah.
Cappy and Tappy was a mix of Tetris and
Kind of like a platformer, sort of.
like. Yeah, sure. Where one of you is playing the little explorer and one of you is dropping Tetris-like blocks to try and get
like
your
Spelunky
platformer
and
person
Tetris
out.
together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Without all the spelunkiness.
Yeah.
But you're trying to get out of a cave.
Yeah.
But you know what was fun, though, is that so as the player platforming and as the player Tetrising, I feel like you viewed it totally differently.
Yes.
When you're platforming, you can kind of see it a bit better of like, I need to get there. I need this. And when you're Tetrising, you're kind of looking at your block and you're like, where does this fit? But then I have to help them move and not like block them in. And we had a lot of fun just back and forth being like, I need this, go here, go there, you know.
Yeah.
It was good times.
One that I'm for sure gonna play with my partner when it comes out. Cappy and Tappy.
Yeah.
Sorry, Whirlight is the next one you wanted to go on to.
Oh, yeah, that was my last rapid fire. Is Whirlight. It is a point-and-click adventure game, very much in the style of your Monkey Islands, your classics. But it is. I'm distracted by Flora thumbs downing Monkey Islands. It's very upsetting to me, but it's okay. I'll move on. I thought the puzzles were great. They're like quirky enough, logical enough, but weird enough that they're very satisfying to figure out. The only thing I'm unsure of is the writing, because it's kind of the demo is the start, and it's kind of a lot of exposition and like, oh, here's my handy dandy journal. This is where I write blah, blah, blah. And it's like, but what's the writing like later in the game, and like interaction between characters you don't really see. So I don't know how the overall writing is, but it's fully voice acted. It's beautiful, and the puzzles were fun. So I enjoyed my time.
The full title on that one is Whirlight, No Time to Trip, and that was also a PAX Rising selection, I believe.
Yes.
Travis, you and me played Missile Command Delta, which
Yeah.
I know that sort of fed into one of your favorite games of maybe the last 5 years.
Literally. So yeah, Mission Command Delta's got a lot of Into the Breach DNA. You're essentially you have a bunch of missiles at your disposal, and you're trying to stop oncoming missiles from destroying little nodes that you have at the bottom of your screen. It's just a top-down, very simple, basic-looking kind of game where the missiles coming are very telegraphed. You know exactly where they're going to explode and how many turns, and you're just trying to optimize your turn by destroying the missiles in the correct order, by making sure that you use the right weapons at the right time. It seems that there is like a narrative aspect to this game and kind of like a story mode kind of thing. I didn't experience any of that, and honestly, I don't know if I need it. I think if this game had a daily, here's your puzzle, I would play this game every day because it's just, here's your little puzzle, you figure it out, and boom, you're done, and you move on. Because I think the actual gameplay itself of figuring out where to place your missiles to prevent missiles from destroying your health is great. I don't know what the narrative aspects of that game are. So, but yeah, no, Missile Command Delta.
Weirdly enough, it seemed like you were on maybe some sort of defense vessel. I didn't do the narrative demo because shout out to Atari for putting out the best physical demo station at.
That was really cool space.
Yeah, where they put the screen inside of what looked like a missile launch, like command center almost.
That's what the game kind of looks like. It looks like you're kind of managing like radar. Like you're kind of like, here's my missiles on a radar screen, and that's what you're trying to. It's kind of on a grid, and you're seeing the missiles coming, and you're trying to deflect and destroy them with like a kind of a radar screen looking vibe.
Yeah, it's again really cool. From Canadian devs, 13am Games, who made Runbow, and Mighty Yell, who is making All Systems Dance, and who previously made the Big Con. So nice. Canadian DNA on that one. I only have one more I want to talk about here. This is Birdigo. So Birdigo is Balatro, but birds and words. And so it is a word version of Balatro where birds are at the center of it. And so if you love a game like Bananagrams or Scrabble, this will be entirely your ish.
Was this the game that was right next to Tire Boy?
Yes, this was next to the game that was unannounced Project Yes.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I didn't even look at the bird game. Mm-hmm. It just so immediately aesthetically was like, this is boring. This looks like an encyclopedic game. Mm-hmm. What did you like about it? Like you said, the Balatro thing. How the heck does that compare?
It gives you a basket of letters that are like tiles, almost like Scrabble, where they go, cool, make a series of words, 3-letter, 4-letter, 5-letter words, and each letter has a specific point total. And as you go through the game, you will gather like bonuses. For example, hey, do you have 5-letter words? 5-letter words will increase your multiplier. Do you use like only or more than this amount of vowels? You'll get a multiplier. And each level that you go through has a like point gate, if you will, and you have to go through the point gate to continue to progress through the game. So like structurally similar a little bit, except you're going through a world map, but structurally it's very similar to Balatro in that way, where it's like, hey, achieve this point gate, you get to go to the next level, and you achieve point gate by points on letters times multiplier that you achieve.
I should have played this. I love birds.
Well, let me tell you, the demo is on Steam now.
Hey.
There it is.
Nice.
Before we close out the show, we've got 2 interviews left to air for games that we played and thought were cool. The first is going to be another interview from our friends at Toge Productions. This time we're speaking with Lala about Undusted Letters from the Past. Undusted Letters from the Past reminded me a lot of Assemble with Care. You essentially will take items in 3 dimensions and clean them, and as you clean them, you discover stories about those objects and how they tie in to the player characters in the world. Take it away, Convention Jacob and Lala. So went from one demo about compensation not guaranteed to Undusted Letters from the Past, a cozy object cleaning game. Can you tell me about the team making it and what players should expect when playing the game?
Okay, so Undusted Letters from the Past, developed by 5 Min Lab. So they're a team from South Korea. So we're publishing the game, and what you can expect from the game is like a very like relaxing experience, a cozy game where you just like clean, away and listen to their stories. As you clean, the story will progress, and there will be like no pressure, like no time limit, so you can like clean however you want and take as much time as you want, and also like listen to like the ASMR that is very relaxing.
Beyond the cleaning, there's sort of a story that's being told about the main character. Can you talk a little bit about, some of the themes that we might see with that character as we go through the game?
All right, so you will play as Adora, like the main character of Undusted. And so Adora just lost his mother. Like, his mother recently passed away, and as she kind of like miss her, she starts like going through some items like left by her, or like some items that in her house. So as you clean, you will like hear more stories about like Adora and her mother, like some nostalgic stories about like her childhood. And then like as the stories progress, you will hear more story about how she went like from childhood to teenager to adult, and it really like evokes like a nostalgic emotion, and then like maybe a little bit of sadness, and then like some kind of closure in there, and also like it revolves a lot around like the family theme, especially like a mother and a daughter. So
amazing. Does this one have a date or details about what's coming, or is it still a ways out?
Well, we don't have a date yet, but we have something coming soon, so please keep an eye on that, and yeah, we'll announce something soon.
Cool. Thank you so much for your time.
No problem. Thank you so much for your time too. So
our last interview of our PAX East 2025 mega show is an interview with the team from Right Stick Studios. They're working on Double Shake. Double Shake is an action platformer inspired by 5th gen platformers, stuff like Tomba and Klonoa, and is being published by Limited Run Games. The team will tell you all about it.
It is a 2.5D action adventure platformer. Inspired by PlayStation 1 games, N64, and other games in the 5th generation.
What games specifically, and what mechanics did you draw from those games?
Mostly Mischief Makers, Tomba, and Klonoa. A lot of the 2.5D camera as it goes around the 3D environment. All the grab and throw mechanics that the three games share, as well as a lot of like the wacky little things that happens between the three.
You've got a homing mechanic in there as well that felt kind of like Sonic Adventure as well, right?
Yeah, building off of some of the Klonoa mechanics.
Lovely. What can players expect when they play your game?
They can expect, but kind of a little bit like a Metroidvania-y, where you can explore, backtrack, bunch of quests, a lot of little collectibles, tons of crazy events and characters, big colorful worlds, just really unique environments.
What drew you to the games, the inspirations that you mentioned earlier?
Well, mostly growing up with all of them, and just like the fact that like no one else was really like capitalizing on this genre of video games, and we're just like, we got to hit that market, and also just our own nostalgia, other people's nostalgia, and just bringing that back again.
Do you have a date yet? And then if you're expecting specific consoles at release, and then maybe if folks can follow your Kickstarter, can you let folks know where they can find that?
Well, we don't have a date yet. We're hoping to finish this year. The primary consoles is PC and Steam, PC, Steam, and Switch, and any other consoles we can get it on. We are trying to do a PlayStation. As for the Kickstarter, that's like long gone. But we do have a Discord, Right Stick Studios.
Amazing. Anything else you guys want to say about the game?
2.5D offers the best of 2D gaming and the open world nature of 3D. And this is what you want. You want quest, you want gameplay, you want so many mechanics that you get confused. You're going to enjoy it.
Last question. What made you guys decide on shaking being a core mechanic of this one?
It originally came from Mischief Makers. You'll notice our title is Double Shake. It's a direct reference to Mischief Makers' Shake Shake quote.
Amazing. Guys, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, man.
Flora, do you have any things you want to shout out here as your final speed round games?
I don't want to shout out a game. I just want to shout out the experience of PAX.
Hell yeah.
I think that the thing that I want to add, especially as a footnote to this episode, is like the value of going to PAX for me is connecting with people. And the video games are a wonderful byproduct of that. The whole episode we've been talking about the games we're playing and what we're looking forward to and what we love, but like really the thing that's meaningful here is like the friendship, the camaraderie, the outings, the events, the standing in line with someone for an hour, the walking around the merch and, you know, talking about like what you want to buy and like whatever it is. I especially want to highlight, you know, some of our friends like the Fun and Games podcast, Tales from the Backlog, you know, like crossplay conversations, dare I say, you know, like the video game trivia panel, like those sorts of things where we join together and go for breakfast, go for dinner, walk around the show floor together. I just wanted to highlight that as my favorite game, let's say, of the show. And that's the reason I still go every year. Like that's like, it's cool to play these demos. You can be patient as a consumer of video games and just play these on Steam eventually. But like the whole community thing is irreplaceable and is just so cool, and I feel so like honored and excited like every year to be able to be a part of this. So that's my quick shout out, let's say.
Your favorite game of PAX is friendship.
Ditto. Great. Late night chats too. We late night chatted a lot. It was a lot of fun.
Quite a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Made some new friends too. Old friends, new friends. PAX was fab. Flora, you also mentioned the video game trivia panel. I have to shout out all the homies that were on that one because that went exceedingly well. You know, we had a whole room singing the iCarly theme, which is a thing that I never thought would ever happen, but here we are. So I guess I have to shout out the homies that were on that one. Steve Saylor.
And you did an amazing job, FYI.
As always.
Crushed it.
Is that one going to get posted?
Yeah, that one will be available on VOD, likely either at the end of May or beginning of June. But I do have the video for that one. It is not on the PAX channels. It's one we recorded ourselves. Shout out to Luke Lewis, who helped with the videoing of that one. And shout out to Dan O'Mac, Trina Smith, Lightweight Gaming, Steve Saylor, CG Danny B, and Dave Jackson, who were on that panel. What a stupid thing that PAX lets me keep doing, huh?
You reach...
No, it's not stupid. It's fun. Everyone has fun. Stop calling it stupid, Jacob.
You access a different level, a different plane of existence when you are handed a microphone in front of a crowd. It's just something is unlocked in your brain, and you are just on, and you're so good. I'm glad you get to keep doing it.
Fantastic job.
I'll throw the criticism out there, okay?
Do it.
Let's go.
Was less French in this one.
Shoot.
And I was disappointed you didn't save the day by answering some French lady's insecure like English question.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, shame on you. It was fantastic.
We had to bring it down a little bit. Yeah.
I feel like the iCarly moment rivals the sudden French speaking moment.
Oh snap!
Yes. No, okay. that surpasses
those
it.
Those are two icon once in a, that doesn't just happen it does just happen. It's just like lightning in a bottle. It just kind of happens.
There were hundreds of people singing iCarly.
There was 350 people in that room, and at least 100 of them were singing iCarly. And my favorite part, or the part that I still cringe about, is there was even though at the beginning I say this is a 13+ panel, there was a woman there who had her probably 12 to 14-year-old child. And at one point, I may or may not make comments about, ropes being shot, which, it's...
Uh-oh.
Yeah, and so one of the enforcers literally looked over at me.
It's a video game mechanic. You shoot ropes out of a gun.
That's what we were talking about for sure. And one of the enforcers does like a Home Alone Macaulay Culkin face towards me, and I'm looking at her, and I'm like, 13+, okay, please. We only said one F word, and Steve Saylor did it. I blame him. It was rad.
You can't stop You can't stop people from bringing their small children to like a rated R movie. You know,
Yep.
the people are going to do what they're going to do.
13 plus. I said the words. I'm knocking. 13 plus. You can check that out on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/@JacobMcCord. It'll be there. Maybe not as soon as this comes out, but shortly thereafter. It's worth a watch. I want to plug some content that's coming out soon on this here podcast feed. We're coming up on 200 somehow, which is crazy. But episode 199 is going to be wildly special. One of our first episodes on the show was an interview with Carla Zamonja, who at the time was working on Tacoma. Carla came back on the show and brought Davey Reedon on the show. And we talked about Wanderstop. So that is going to be episode 199. It is an hour-long chat. It is very good. They feed off each other in a way that is 100% worth a listen. So that'll be out in 2 weeks. That's episode 199. And then 200 is going to be a celebration of all things Left Behind Game Club in a format that I think you'll enjoy. Stay tuned for that. You can follow us on all social media platforms. We're mostly on Blue Sky, leftbehindgameclub.bsky.social, and you can join the Discord and yell at all of us about our lovely taste in games at leftbehindgame.club/Discord. If you enjoyed the show, do us two favors, send it to a friend and give it a 5-star review on your podcasting platform of choice, whether it's Spotify, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Pocket Cast has ratings now. All that stuff helps. Thank you so much. Let's go to our plugs. Flora, we are going to share your article that you mentioned earlier in the show about Desktop Survivors when it's out. But anything else you want to plug, and then where can we find you on social?
Yeah, thank you. I obviously find me on epiloguegaming.com for all of my written work, all of my coverage on video games for the most part. If you would like to engage with me directly, just hop in Discord somewhere. I recommend the Epilogue Gaming server or the Left Behind Game Club server. You can find me haphazardly on Twitter, X, Blue Sky. If you want to look up Flora Marigold, you know, look up at your own risk. But anyway, the rest of my work is epiloguegaming.com. So head there if you want to hear more thoughts.
Love it. Travis, are you skeeting on Blue Sky now?
Yeah, I am on Blue Sky, Travis Colnett at bsky.social, and I am not doing that though. But I'm also really active in the Discord, so come check out the Discord where I'm usually just obsessing about Claire Obscure.
That's fair, aren't we all?
We kind of all.
Yes,
Is
literally
it
all.
everyone?
I mean, I haven't started it yet, so I'm not with you.
Oh, well,
wow.
You're the only one. My partner asked me, I was like, he's like, who's playing this? I'm like, everyone's playing it. He's like, no, who's everyone? And I rattled off like all of the gaming people that I know. I'm like, so-and-so, 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 so-and-so. We're all playing it. It's great.
I know we're
Fantastic.
wrapping
Except
up,
Jacob.
but can I just say that, like, I feel like an ownership over this because I was like the first one to finish it in any of my friend groups, and I'm sitting here like desperately waiting for people to finish, and everyone
I'm about
is writing
to finish Act 2.
Me too.
I have like in Epilogue's community, we do these like letterbox reviews for video games, giving it a 5 out of 5, and I'm like, I can't wait to hear what the Left Behind Game Club Discord says about this game.
Yeah.
I'm so ready. Join our Discord, listeners. Join.
There you go. So I am playing Claire Obscure, and I'm also in the Discord. You can find me there. And then you can also find me on Blue Sky. I am Lesperak, Lesperak, at .bluesky.social. Whatever. I don't know. I don't understand. Lesperak. That's what I am.
Honestly, if you type up Lesperak, you're the first thing to come up. So there it is.
Wonderful.
Lovely.
I would hope so, because it's a stupid name. So,
What's yours, Jacob? What are you on Blue Sky?
I wasn't going to do it here, but since you asked, jacob.bsky.social is where you can find me.
Wow.
Because I'm special, and I like to tell you
I'm the
every
original
time I have
Jacob.
the opportunity. The original, the OG, the only Jacob. That's me.
Only one that matters. Jacob Geller doesn't matter.
Jacob Geller does matter, actually. Big time matters.
I know. I'm still waiting on his book to show up at my house. I shouldn't say that on a podcast.
Shout out Jacob Geller.
It's not coming now.
You can find me there on Blue Sky. Check out the Video Game Trivia VOD when it's out there. And then we've also got, if you're like, hey, I want more coverage about PAX because I have not heard enough, we've got a similar show on Crossplay Conversations where we go through our favorite titles, and there might be some different ones on that one. So check that out, Crossplay Conversations, wherever you find your podcasts. My friends, that's the show. So with that, I say, hey, there's one less PAX left behind.
Video games are a unique medium.
They can tell stories,
immerse us in strange, fantastic worlds,
blur the very boundaries of our reality.
But at the end of the day, video games are fun, whatever fun is to you.
I'm Jeff Moonen.
And I am Matt, a.k.a. Stormageddon.
And on Fun and Games, we talk about the history, trends, and community of video games.
It's a celebration of all the games we play and all the fun we find within them.
And there's so many more games out there. So we hope you'll share in that conversation with us.
Fun and Games podcast with Matt and Jeff. Find us on certainpov.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
And happy gaming.